So anyway, the reason why I'm doing this, I'm a speaker, is Cheryl and I were talking, and I was telling her stories from my my various escapades coming out and stuff like that. And so she thought it would be a good talk. So that's basically what this stems from. So I wanted to talk about the different stages of my life as far as coming out. I truly believe that if you're gay, LGBTQ, or whatever, you're going to be coming out in your entire life, because it's not the norm still, So I think you spend your life coming out, and basically that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. So you want to get the next picture there? Yeah, next slide. All right. So this is me as a toddler in Hawaii. That's me in the back. That's the little. That little boy there is my cousin who lives in Fresno now, and then I'm the tallest one of the kids in around Memphis. And the reason why I picked the one from Memphis is that about that time that I realized I was different. I was watching TV with my family, and you know how you go, oh, isn't she cute? And I decided I wanted to marry that gal on TV. It wasn't the guy, it wasn't the, but I knew instinctively that that's not usually the right thing to do. But I never said anything.
Do you remember the show?
Don't remember the show, but I remember she was blonde. And it was probably like Bewitched or something, Samantha Stevens or something like that. So I knew back then that I was different. Now, to step back a little bit, I have a family member who's transgender. And growing up, I knew that he was Uncle Nicky, but also Auntie Nicky. So I knew about that. I knew that was much part of our family. But my stepfather he's now passed, was an evil man. He was abusive in all sense of the words, sexual, physical, and emotionally abusive. So I did not feel like I could come out even as I was growing up. So I had to keep it, in check. So, next slide. There we go. The reason why this picture is the very first gay bar I went to was as a toddler. I was a little bit long. I was probably about 6 or 7. My grandmother used to ride the bus, and she would drag me on the bus with her. This is in Honolulu, Hawaii. And she'd go downtown to Waikiki, and my Aunt Nikki was working there at the drag club. It was sort of like Finocchio's. And so I remember one of my earliest memories sitting on the at the booth where my grandmother's ordering beer because she figured she'd get free beer this way, right? And my aunt saying, "You got to get her out of here. She's not supposed to be in here." And my grandmother's going, "No, no, no, no." And all the performers were fawning over me. I just remember them all fawning over because this little kid in this drag bar. So my very first gay bar was about 6 or 7, and it's since closed. It closed in 85. So, but yeah, I remember that. I remember all the lovely ladies on the stage practicing their art. It was fun. It was very fun. And since then, I've been a big proponent of drag shows. All right, let's see. So the thing about this is I really think the gal there is my aunt. See the one with the teal in the first row? That kind of looks like Nikki, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. So anyway, the thing about it is when my aunt was performing and I was doing her drag and stuff like that, she actually went to San Diego to help my mother while my stepfather was in Vietnam. So she was a presence for me back then too, even though we didn't live in Hawaii. She came out to help out while my stepfather was in Vietnam. And he never really said anything about her just because in front of us, just because she was so helpful, and helped take care of his kids and stuff, because there were 4 of us.
Which side of the family was she on?
My mother's side. Oh, yeah.
And she was fully accepted?
It's interesting because as my uncles and aunts have gotten older, they're not, they would, it came out that they're not so accepting. So they still call her he and stuff like that. So I was kind of shocked because it was always Auntie Nikki. I never thought about it. So yeah. And she has since had the sex change. You know, she went to Thailand. Back then you had to go to Thailand to get the change.
She's in Hawaii.
She's actually lives in Missouri now. So, all right, let's see. Okay. So, like I said, as I was growing up, I was not interested in boys. Damn, not shit at all. As a matter of fact, when I was in the 5th grade, all the girls were going steady. So they all wanted, so there's a bunch of girls want to go steady, and I didn't want to go. They said, go to steady with Herman. There was this kid who really liked me, Herman. I go, I don't want to go steady with Herman. I'd rather go steady with Virginia, but I didn't say that. Matter of fact, the Virginia I was talking about was my Queen Titania when I was King Oberon in my Midsummer Night's Dream performance in the 5th grade. It was really cool. But I digress. So anyway, it wasn't until, go ahead, the next one. Ah, there I am. I am a rebel without a cause. I, that was about 16, 17 years old. I was against everything. And to think 2 years later, I would be joining the Navy was a shock to everybody. But I was a rebel without a cause. I had a girlfriend at the age of 16. That was my first girlfriend. Now, when we started dating, we obviously weren't gay. We just happened to be in love with somebody that was a woman. That never came across. Those words never came across our lips, was being gay or lesbian or anything like that. So that's how you justified it back then. Anyway, so that was me, my rebel without a cause day. And the thing is she was 6 months older than me, so she turned 18 before I did. And my stepfather threatened to turn her in for because she was an adult and I was still a minor. So that's when I decided at the age of 18, even though I hadn't graduated from high school, I was moving out. So I moved out and I couch surfed. I realized now I was homeless. I didn't, it wasn't called that back then, but I was homeless for about 6 or 7 months until I saved enough money, and my first girlfriend, Blanca, and I had got an apartment for a little while and stuff like that. Then I realized that this was not working because I was the only one working, and I was working minimum wage at 35 hours a week. And I could barely, even in San Diego, Chula Vista, you couldn't really survive back then.
$3.45.
Yeah, something like that. And so anyway, I moved back into home because we were going to go. So Blanca joined the Navy. Her father had been in the Navy, and I decided to join the Navy. Now, prior to this, while I was in school, I actually had a full scholarship ride to the International University. I was going to get my an accelerated program. I was going to get my psychology degree in 3 years and then my master's in 4. So I was all set, and I just said no because I wasn't ready for it, which is probably a good thing. I can't see me as a therapist. But anyway, so that's it. I joined the Navy. So that's the next one.
Did you join it because of your girlfriend?
No, actually, we ended up breaking up. She joined the Navy and she discovered, to go back a little bit, at that point, I didn't know there was other women that were gay, So it was after she had joined the Navy and she came back to visit me. A friend of mine, a high school friend of mine, introduced us to another female couple. And then I said, hey, there's other of us. Because remember, the libraries didn't carry any gay books. There was no internet or anything like that. So it was either word of mouth or, the bars, but I was way too young because it's 21 back then. For California's been 21 for years. But anyway, so it wasn't until about 18, 19 that I realized there were other people that were gay. I'm sure I knew it instinctively, but to actually meet other women that were gay. So anyway, I joined the Navy, and then I really knew there were people that were gay, because there were a lot of them in the Navy. If you look on the right-hand side, that's me during inspection time. So serious, wasn't I serious? Yeah, that's me. And that's me in the middle, while we're taking a break from whatever we were doing. So in the Navy, when I was in boot camp, that's where I met Vicky. Everybody who knows Vicky, and she was what we called our RCPO. She was the recruit chief petty officer in charge of us. She would march us around and stuff like that. So this is where being naive and stupid comes into play, because I was actually dating somebody while I was in boot camp. Go figure. Now remember, you cannot be gay in the Navy at the time, in the military. So I was dating somebody while I was in boot camp.
On the campus.
Stupid. So the way they have it broken up is you have, back then you didn't have mixed, no, you didn't. Women were in their own barracks, men were in their separate. So now they've mixed the sexes. So what we call our sister unit, another group. So there was 84 of us in one barracks, and there was 84 women in the other, and she was in the other barracks. So yes, don't ask. Anyway, so Vicky, my favorite story for Vicky was very, very serious in boot camp, very, very, very serious. And I was not. I just wanted to get in and out. So because I knew there was a game, and the one time she told, and I instinctively knew Vicky was gay. I don't know why, but you know, the gaydar and stuff like that. And there were women hooking up within our barracks too, you know. Anyway, so Vicky was mad at us, just so angry at us. So she comes marching in and she says, I'm only going to march you to breakfast because I was told I had to. But you don't tell a bunch of women that that's what you're going to do and why you're doing it, right? So everybody's kind of looking at it like, are you nuts or something? So she goes out and they do what they call mass up. So you go in formation. So you march out and go into formation. So I was carrying a flag. I was a flag bearer, and I was one of the first ones out. So there's Vicky standing straight and tall, looking straight ahead to where we're going to be going into formation, and just really, you could see the steam coming out. So I'm marching by and I turn, I go, kiss her. And I walk by and I stand up, and you can see going, and just go, and so there was a company commander going, so-and-so, Brown, what are you cursing at? Nothing. She took herself way too serious, way too serious. As long as you didn't get caught, that's all. So, and I almost did get caught in boot camp.
You were dating at the time that blew her a kiss?
Sure, why not? Not her.
Not her. Oh, okay.
No. Vicky's like a sister to me. No. That was
She was being cheeky.
She was being cheeky. I was being cheeky. So anyway, that was boot camp, and I got out of it without being kicked out, which is, I'm surprised. I really am. I mean, looking back now, that was a stupid thing to do. But you know, you got to figure I didn't know any better. I really didn't.
You were just breaking out of your
Yes, that's right. So that was really stupid. Okay, next slide. There I am. So the only person, this is in Memphis, this is our technical training. I spent 5 months there, 7 months, something like that, doing technical electronics. They taught you how to work on electronics. And my specialty was flight simulators. So we worked on flight simulators. So that was one. She is the first person that I ever admitted to being gay to. We're cleaning our lounge, because you had to clean lounge. We were in the same section. We're cleaning the lounge. I was cleaning the lounge, and she looked at me. She goes, "Are you gay?" And I said, "Yeah." And I'm thinking, as soon as it came out my mouth, I go, "Oh, that was not a smart thing to say," because if you ever get investigated, then they have to, right? They have to divulge. So anyway, so yeah, that was stupid. But while I was in Memphis, I had a blast. They had a gay bar in Memphis, downtown. This is NAS Memphis. It's actually 40 miles north of Memphis. It's Millington, Tennessee. And Millington, Tennessee is a Navy town. And you're wondering, why in Tennessee do you have Navy base?
Yeah.
Because it's the air arm of it. Naval Air Station, Memphis. So there's the surface and then there's the Air Force. And I was part of the air arm of it. So even my designations on my arm. So if for an air, I was called an airman, so I would have green stripes. And a seaman would have a different one. A medic would have a different color stripe, so they could figure out what you were. So anyway, George's was a drag bar. It was the best. And we would take all our roommates, whether they were straight or gay, to George's. Now, back then, you could not be in the military and go to a gay bar. So that was another. So we're telling everybody, hey, you want to go? You want to go? And we're dragging all these people to the gay bars. We had a great time, man. I'm telling you, it was really good. It was like a tri-level bar. It really was. It had 3 different levels of, you had the drag show, which is more of the disco. Then you had country, and then you had some soft rock. It was awesome. I don't know if it still exists, but it was really, really cool.
That's like fun.
It was fun. It was
But
fun.
you went in your regular jeans. You didn't.
Oh, yeah, no, you didn't go. Oh, actually, when I was in boot camp,
Oh, no.
my ex-girlfriend, Blanca, came to visit me. And so when you're still in boot camp, you have to go on, what do they call it? They call it Liberty. So it's when you can go off base and do things, but you had to do it because you're still in boot camp. You had to do it in civilian, your military uniform. So, but the military uniform at the time for women was a black jacket with navy buttons and a tie, and then a nice pair of slacks. So what you do is she had me take off my jacket, take off my tie, and it looked like a disco outfit back then because it was black, white shirt and black, because I didn't have any markings on my sleeve because I was just in boot camp. So I went to a gay bar. Well, I was in uniform. That's another stupid thing I did. You would think I would.
You don't think about the ramifications.
No, you didn't think. No, you did not. Besides, so anyway, I remember the first dance I did was I Love the Nightlife. In the bar. So it was great. So anyway, after Memphis, it's funny because, well, in Memphis, it's really funny because people are just discovering who they are, right? It's like going to college in a sense, you discover who you are. So there was a lot of major crushes going on. So it was interesting. Yeah, because I went to the bar one night and there was my ex-girlfriend there because she came to visit me. The gal I was dating at the time, Wanda, who ended up being somebody I dated, and 2 women that had crushes on me were all at the bar at the table with me. And I'm going, oh shit. And so I get up, I'd never danced really in a bar before. Never. So I grabbed this other gal. I said, come on, let's go dance. She says, I don't know how. I said, I'm going to learn right now. And I spent the whole night avoiding everybody. Because I'm thinking, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. So anyway, but it's very common in Memphis. It wasn't that I was anything special. It was really common. So anyway, hey, next slide. All right, so this is me. I'm way in the corner. This is a technical training that we did. So I thought I got stationed right back where I grew up in San Diego. Actually, it's in Coronado, North Island. And I thought, if I kept just my nose clean, I'd be okay, right? I'm going to be fine. And I keep my nose clean. Well, that did. Anyway, so that's me in the corner before I was investigated. Yes. So I was an airman. So you can't see it, but I had the 3 green stripes and stuff like that. And I actually was the honor student out of that class because I'm thinking if I really try very hard, squared away sailor, I'm going to be okay. Yeah. Next week. Oh,
I
What?
was asking if you could bring down the gallery so we could see the text.
Oh, it's just saying training at NES North Island. North Island,
It's all right.
oh, it's on mine. That's why, hold on. I'll break it down. There we go.
Thank you so much.
There you go. NES, it's in Coronado. So anyway, next. Next. Okay.
What year was that?
This, okay, there I am. So that was in 78, that other picture. This is a picture, if you can see, I have one stripe on, and then the next one, I have two stripes. And the reason why I did that, the reason why I showed that is that I did not get busted. So what happened was, I had moved off base, and because I was what they call a tenant command, that I wasn't really assigned to North Island, my command was just was sitting there, renting the spaces kind of thing. I was allowed to move off base, so I moved off base, and they had an investigation. There were 5 women that were investigated, and the background behind this is one of the women that was investigated had been dating this other woman, and then said, "We're done." She decided, so she was, I guess, bisexual, whatever. Anyway, so her and her boyfriend decide they're going to turn everybody in. So they turned in the entire softball team. Of course, base softball team. They turned in the entire women's basketball team, and I got turned in because I was accused of sleeping with her ex-girlfriend, which I did not do that at all. So, yeah, I know. So, and the thing, the thing, well, no, the lucky part was because I was a tenant command, they could not investigate me. Because the NES North Island was investigating me. You can't reach across commands to investigate. So they had asked my XO, my second in charge officer, to transfer me temporarily to North Island. And he said, "Fuck you." Oh, he said, "Hell no," basically. And from that day forward, I loved him. I would go and, "Hey, XO, how you doing?" Every time I could see him in headquarters. But anyway, I was called as a witness. And I am as truthful as a day is long, but I was not truthful. As far as if they had,
Everybody.
and I was not going to turn anybody in. And it was down to 5 people because they were not going to prosecute officers. And a lot of the women on the softball and basketball team were officers. So they weren't going to prosecute them. Yes. So you have to be caught red-handed in order to get prosecuted as an officer, right? Or piss somebody off. But, and it was interesting when I was testifying, they asked me, "Is it okay if we come over to your apartment and search your apartment?" See, now, if you're living on base, you have to, everything you own is up for grabs. They can go into everything you have, right? But if you're living off base, they have to ask you. And I said, "No, you're not going to search." I didn't have anything in there. But no, you're not going to search. And the biggest thing for me is that as a flight simulator tech, I had security clearance. And it wasn't until 1995 that it was okay to be gay and have a secret security clearance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was Clinton who changed that. So I would have lost everything. Even if I had been discharged, I would not have been able to continue my job in the type of work I did on flight simulators, because you have to have a secret clearance for flight simulators. But anyway, so I got.
Was that because it was considered a mental disability or? mental
No,
disorder?
because they figured they could blackmail you.
Yeah, you could be comfortable.
So you could be compromised. So, yes.
Okay,
Um,
didn't even think about that.
Yes.
Too innocent.
yeah, well, yeah. But the reason why I put the one with the second chevron was to show that I got promoted. They didn't stop me from getting promoted. But I got out anyway, because I decided I didn't want to be Nancy Navy. I wanted to have a life. And I knew that it would be extremely difficult to be gay and stay in the military and be true to myself. my ex, my very first girlfriend, stayed actually, and she retired. So she did really well for herself. All right, next one. So that's me, my first job. I worked for the Navy up at Moffett Field. So I moved out of, I got out of the Navy, moved up here to be with Wanda for about 2 months. We lasted 2 months. And it did not work. Did not work. You met Wanda, right? Yeah. So it did not work. And yeah, I know. Did not work. So I moved around and stuff like that. But anyway, I was a flight simulator tech. Again, I needed a secret clearance. So during the time that I was a flight simulator tech, I did not talk about being gay while I was working. She knew, Linda knew, and it was bad because one time she asked me over her house and I helped dye her hair. So I colored her hair for her. And her husband was hovering because he was afraid I was going to make a pass at her. And I'm thinking, no, what are you talking about? She's a friend. Yeah. So anyway, so I kept it to a minimum. I didn't let people know that I was gay at all, just a select few. And I felt bad that I let Linda know because it made it kind of uncomfortable because her husband actually worked where we worked. We all worked together. And it just made it a little bit uncomfortable for us. And it was funny because I went to our Christmas party and Joe was my date, our friend Joe. That was a mistake because he wanted to really show that I was straight. Oh, that was a mistake. Oh my God. See, he was all over me at this Christmas party. And then Corthals, who's an officer, he knew I was gay, but he was all over me too, because he wanted to show I'm straight.
These guys find
Girls protecting you.
Protecting me. And I'm just sitting there going, oh my God, this is terrible. And I told him I'm never taking you out again. You're not going again. No.
So how long were you in the Navy total?
I was just 4 years and 2 years in active reserve where they could call you up at any time. So, so I worked for the Navy for another 4 years. I don't have a picture of me in my second Navy job. I was a tech rep on P3 aircraft. And what I would do is anything that had wires, I would assist the sailors in troubleshooting. And I would actually come up with classroom platform teaching and get them ready for the rating exams for promotions and stuff. So I teach them electronics, laser theory, all sorts of stuff. And if they had any difficult problems, they'd call me and I'd help them work through them. So that's what I did, because a P3 aircraft is like a tube full of electronics. So everything that had wires, I would help them with. So I did that for 6 years. And then they were transferring us to Hawaii, and I love my family, but I don't want to live with my family. So I went looking for another job. And that's how I ended up with the FAA. Next slide. So that's good. Next, the reason why this is fine. The FAA did not require security clearance. You had to have confidential, which is, because you have your PIB information, personal information, stuff like that, but did not require security clearance. So I didn't worry about that. And this was in 92, it had a policy of inclusiveness. Yes, it's would not discriminate against, FAA would not discriminate against for sexual orientation. Well, they're not supposed to. So,
Which is new.
no, it wasn't new. It's just they weren't supposed to. So I met Sarah in 96. Sarah worked for the FAA in 92, met Sarah in 96 in Oklahoma. Sarah's my partner. And I met her while we were both going to school. She ended up moving up to the Bay Area. She lived in Ventura. I know, get lucky, huh? So we carried on a long distance relationship about 2 years, but she moved up here and she worked at San Jose. I worked out of Oakland and I was ready to quit. I did not like the manager. I mean, I loved the manager. He just couldn't manage. And it was like the inmates were running the prison there. It was really bad. And I said, I can't do this. So I started looking for another job within the FAA. And I was turned down for a job. It was really embarrassing because people, it was in training, dealing with training. People were congratulating me before I got the job. They thought I had the job, right? They're congratulating me. And I kept saying, I don't think so. Something tells me I didn't get the job, and I didn't. And they used the excuse that I didn't have enough equipment experience. We call it certifications, but equipment experience, because in the Tracon where I worked, it was major systems, like intense, important systems, but there weren't a lot of them. Where the guy that got the job, he worked out of Oakland, and there were a lot of little systems, but not anything as big as what I worked on. Because I worked on radar, I worked on major communication systems, all that kind of stuff. So I thought, this is crap. This is not why I didn't get the job. And it was because I was gay. I knew that's what it was. Didn't help that I was also the major union rep for everybody from not Santa Rosa, from the Oregon border down to Santa Maria.
No, that wouldn't help.
That didn't help at all. So anyway, I was thinking, how am I going to get out of here? How am I going to get a transfer or whatever? This guy from San Francisco, he was a radar tech, transferred to where I was working. So where I was working, you had to have 4 radar techs. Well, he made 5. So I was an extra. And he transferred because of an EEO complaint. EEO complaint. He didn't file it, but it was going to happen. So he was Black and he was being discriminated out of San Francisco. So the manager out of San Jose had been, from the moment I got hired, come work for me, come work for me, come work for me, come down, I'll make a spot for you, come work for me. So I said, okay. So I called him up, said, hey, can I come work for you? Do you have a spot for me? Because you have to have spots, you just can't. And then I went over and talked to my manager, who I adored. I just couldn't manage. And I said, now that we have 5 radar techs, can you let me go? And he said, yes. So I put in the paperwork, and somebody was sitting on it. They were sitting on it and sitting on it and sitting on it. So I would call Jack, who was the boss out of San Jose. He said, hey, Jack, have you heard anything? No, something's happening. I don't know why they're not letting you go. Because it should have been a clear transfer. So I talked to my boss. He says, I don't know. And I knew it was our district manager, the guy in charge, right? So because I was a union rep, I worked with the LR person, right? Labor relations person. So I went into her office, made an appointment, because I worked with her on grievances and all that kind of stuff. And I said, look, I have an EEO complaint. I said, I'm not going to file it unless I have to. Because I had talked to Sarah. I said, are you okay with me doing this? And she said, yeah. I said, you have a manager, a second level manager that you hired from LA, and you made a spot for his wife so she could transfer. You made a spot for her. I said, I'm not getting transferred because I'm gay and because the person I'm dating is in San Jose. And I said, I have an EEO complaint. And this isn't right. I said, you cannot discriminate against me because I'm gay, because you don't recognize that relationship legally that I have with Sarah. Because right then, Obama hadn't recognized it, nobody had recognized it, right? So I said, you have double standards here. Because either I'm gay and you recognize my relationship with Sarah and she gets all the benefits that we're together, or I'm gay and you don't recognize that relationship because legally you can't. The next day I got a call and I got a transfer. I said, because he was to stop it, because I knew that's why I didn't get the promotion. And I knew that's why I wasn't getting the transfer. So, so that the point being is that it continues to happen regardless. It's going to be the way it's now. In the FAA, when I worked for the FAA, everybody knew Sarah, everybody knew me. They knew we were partners. And if they didn't, they were going to find out eventually, right? But it wasn't until very recently that I would call her my partner, and then because you could see that people jerking back and go, oh, your partner. Now it's like, I don't care. You like it or not, I don't care. And the reason why I have this picture up, this is our family picture at our wedding. Yeah. And so this is my mother's cousins and my cousins and my aunt from Hawaii and Sarah's family all were there. And I wanted to show that it's, you know, and it was 12 years after we had gotten together because it became legal. As soon as it became legal, we got together. And the next picture is our wedding party. And it's, so we had two ministers because we couldn't pick between one of them. And my brother and Saul on the right-hand side. And there's us and our moo-moos and our garland and our leis and stuff. And we had three ring bearers. All five of the little girls were flower girls. And the only ones we had were matrons of honor. So, and I wanted to show that just to show how far we've come. But you still are coming out. Does not matter because it's still not accepted. It's still not considered the norm. Throughout our lives, we're always going to be coming out. And I don't know when that'll end. So that's it.
Thank you.
Does anybody have questions?
You know the real story.
You know the real story? What do you mean? That's right. You've seen me through quite a few go-forts. No.
What would you tell your younger self now that you have
Oh,
benefit of your life?
you know, now it's different now because I could have, well, no, I wouldn't have stayed in the Navy. I'm the type of person that goes gung ho into stuff. So I would probably be Nancy Navy, and I don't want to be that way. I like the fact that I'm much more loosey-goosey than I would have been if I had stayed in the Navy. So no, the best thing I ever did was join the Navy. The next best thing was to get out because it gave me a career. I had no idea about electronics, and so you know it gave me a career.
Did you choose to go into that, or did they choose it for you?
No, I chose it. I know that's why it took so long for me to go in. I was in the delayed entry. So what I did was I took the book, the career book, and I went through all of them. I said, this one sounds good. They don't go on ships. They don't go overseas very much because flights, think about it. There's no flight simulators on ships, right?
Right.
The only thing they would work on was, we'd call it the film library, where they would work on projectors and stuff like that. And on an aircraft carrier, they worked on the closed circuit TVs that they use to monitor the launching and the retrieval of aircraft. And then if you go overseas, you're going to work in the film library again, because it's considered training. Because I actually learned how to fly one of those linked simulators. And I learned how to fly a helicopter simulator and the P3 simulator, all that kind of stuff. Because you have to learn how to do it to fly it in order to know what's wrong with it, right? So.
You might love that Tom Cruise.
The Top Gun movie.
Yeah, I want to see
I
it.
saw it yesterday.
I did too.
With my kid and he.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Yeah.
And you'll have a special bond with that because that is the Navy, but the Air Force within the Navy.
Yeah, the Navy there. Yeah, I like.
Yeah, my kid wants
The whole
to
thing.
fly now. Yeah, my kid's like.
I saw it
"Mom,
23
what do
times
you
in the
think
theater.
I'm gonna join the, Navy?"
Oh, no.
My
If he wants to fly, then he has to be an officer.
Mhm.
The Army will let you fly as a warrant officer, but the Navy, you have to be an
The
officer.
Navy are the elite players, not the Air Force.
Well,
That Top Gun was that squadron of very sort of like the Marines,
Yeah.
where you say a few good men kind of thing.
well, because they're tail hook. That's the thing, is a tail hook.
Yeah.
You know, because what they tell the Air Force is try, it's fine, you can land, it's fine, you can fly, but try doing it when
You're on a ship.
you're on a ship and it's
Yeah.
moving. So,
My Uncle Ron was a mechanic
yeah.
on a aircraft carrier. And it was cruise for 6 to 9 months.
Yep.
in quarters like this. and-
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to stay in, because at the time I was getting out, they were putting women on ships.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And I said, hell no. No, no. It was funny because one time I was picking up a friend from the USS Gompers from a ship. It was a tender, submarine tender. And there was this submarine, a British submarine docked next to it, right? So I was going, I said, hey, have you gone and looked and got a tour of it? No, they're British, and stuff. So, well, did you ask? And she goes, no, I never asked. I said, come on, let's go. So I go, and I asked permission to come aboard, and I went aboard and I said, hey, can I get a tour? And I showed her my ID, that I was in the Navy and stuff like that. And she says, come back in about 15 minutes. I said, okay, came back in 15 minutes, got a tour of the submarine. It was very nice. They were not liking women in the Navy. They did not believe in that. I don't think, they didn't believe in that at all. No, not the British. Oh, no. Oh, and now
They're slower to change.
now they're allowing some women on submarines. So,
Got close quarters.
no, that's okay. That's
Yeah, really.
but anyway,